Episode 5, scenes 2 to 4. Okay, so I think I'm starting to take a corner with this stuff. Now I'm gonna start to aggressively move forward through the scenes. So I'm kind of basically starting at the beginning. I'm gonna just pass by this first scene with the cars. I don't really want to deal with that yet. I kind of want to focus on the characters. So this is scene 2. This is what I want to start with. That's scene 3, and that's scene 4. Okay, so this is scene 2. I went through my Hit the Ground Running folder, and I kind of found this piece of art, which I thought almost does the trick for this scene. So I thought I would use this as a starting point. I thought, this is what the scene looks like. I kind of like this character. She's in the wrong position, but I'm going to use this as the starting point for this scene. So first thing I need to do is I need to do some touch-ups on the car background here. There you go. It's a muscle car and bucket seats. Now that that's done, I need to clean up her layer. So removing some of the background elements, which is flattened on this layer, and clean up the edges. Okay, now I've got her on one layer. I've got the background cleaned up, separated on a separate layer. Now, let's take a look at that storyboard image again. Let's put that on a bit of a transparency. Let's see what I have to do with that. Okay, well, her body and her head, basically she's in a totally different position. So I'm going to use the thumbnail as a guide to start to pose her out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut her head out and put that on a separate layer. Now, I'm basically just going to hammer that head into the right position, scale it up. I'm going to use the eyes as kind of a guide to where I kind of want to place her head. Okay, now I'm going to just, roughly kind of put in all her body details. And I'm going to do this on separate layers. I'm kind of thinking forward towards animation. I'm just going to, put her various body elements on separate different layers, like her arm on the foreground layer, her head on a separate layer, and then her body. Okay, now I've kind of got the outline of her body there. Now I'm just going to kind of work in all the details. Flop it, see how it looks. Okay, now I've basically got like an outline of her body there. Now I'm going to start to go in and do some details. The first thing I'm going to do is work her expression. Now she's supposed to look kind of shocked. So I got to kind of clear out her old pupil and put a new pupil in there, and with a bit of a reflection. Basically what you want is the white. You don't want her pupil touching the outline of her eye to give her kind of a nice surprise look. Okay, now I got that one eye. Let's go and work the other eye. So basically copy and paste the top of the eyelid, move it up, do the same thing for the bottom, and copy and paste the eye, more or less hammer it into position there. Now, gonna work on that eyebrow a little bit. Now, the mouth needs to have a kind of a shocked expression. So, pulling the corners of the mouth down, exposing your teeth a little bit. Yeah. There you go. And that's her expression. So now I can kind of move in and start to work at the details on the rest of her body, starting with that foreground arm. Again, what's important here are the outlines. And, it doesn't matter. I'm not too concerned about getting it correct. All I need to do is just get something down, and then I could always go in and kind of modify it afterwards. Modify the shape of it and the position of it. Yeah, now I can hit it with a bit of shading just to sort of bring it into the context of the scene. I don't know why, but there's a bit of kind of a low light on her. It kind of helps with her kind of her shocked expression. Now I'm going to continue working the details on the rest of her body there. Some wrinkle details. I don't want to get too bogged down with details, although I do kind of enjoy doing this, but the details need to be somewhat simplified. Remember, this is the end result of this is going to be animation. So, okay, now I'm going to work. I like to sort of put a bit of a gradient on either side of the legs to give it like that kind of nice shiny look. The gradients basically help with the rounding out things on the fleshy parts, and then modify that seat a little bit so it makes like she's sitting in that bucket seat, a little bit of a cast shadow on there as well. Okay, boom. So that's the B position. And this was the thumbnail. Okay, so you can see it's kind of, I've taken the thumbnail as a guide. And I've kind of, I'm crossing over between, layout and design here. And now what I need to do is there's this is the A position. So I'm going to use that, this key drawing as the basis for the start pose. So basically, I'm going to take that face and I'm going to make a selection. Select like kind of the contour going down the middle of her head. Now that I have that, I'm going to stroke it, give it a bit of an outline. And now I'm going to just basically start to warp, start to warp her face. So, the features in her face need to sort of rotate towards her expression there. I'm not sure if that worked. I'm going to try that again. Okay, so this is version 2. I'm going to try a different approach on this. It's the same idea, it's sort of taking her frontal details and rotating it and trying to get like a nice profile out of that. And I'm working with what you have. All right. Is that any better? Anyways, okay, let's try to get the body working here. She's kind of pushed back on her seat. Oh, man, I don't know if that's any better. I'm going to try again. Okay, this is version 3. Let's try it again. I think I lost something there. Okay, so I'm going to make that selection again. Draw a straight line down the middle of her head. Copy merged on a different layer. Stroke it to get the outline. Now I'm going to start to, basically move her features towards her profile. Push her nose out a little bit. It's looking a little bit better. It seems to be more consistent with that the design of her looking frontally. All right, that's going pretty good. She doesn't quite have the right expression though. I want her to look more terrified. All right, details. Okay, it's looking better. How about, you know what? She needs to have, basically her pupil shouldn't be touching the edges of her eyelashes. It needs to be sort of floating in the middle there. Let's give her like that terrified expression. More of a screaming kind of expression. All right, is that any better? I don't know. Okay, so let's see what happens if we pose her in the seat. So she's pushing back into the bucket seat. Her head is kind of, hunched into her shoulders a little bit. And her legs are pushing forward so that when she leans forward, the head and the legs will sort of move towards each other like kind of a counter motion. Okay, I mean, I don't want to spend any more time on this. I've already got like 2 or 3 different versions. I'm not sure which one I like the best. Maybe it'll be a combination of both of those, but I need to move forward here. Okay, so this is scene 3. If you recall, I was working on this on that last episode, and I basically had everything flattened on one layer. So what I need to do is kind of separate this out so that this character, let's call him Pete, is separate from the background here. There you go. So on a different layer, basically I want to have him rotate his head towards the camera. All right, so basically I'm going to, in stages, kind of start to kind of simulate a head rotation using what I have there. This is kind of like the opposite of that last scene. The last scene I had a frontal pose that I kind of moved into a profile, which is kind of one little puzzle. And now this is the opposite, where the profile is kind of rotating towards the camera. So in other words, information needs to be revealed on the far side of his face. It's basically, there's going to be, things are going to compress towards the camera as it rotates to sort of give it a convincing kind of a head rotation. The back cheek and back eye is being revealed here. So that's a bit of new information. Okay, let's see how that looks. Well, looks pretty good. Okay, so a little bit more, fiddling around with his head there. Okay, there you go. So basically, he kind of looks towards her, kind of a blank expression. Now, I'm going to start to do something with the body, just to make it more full. That looks a bit limited. So I got to separate the arm out, the back arm from the body. Now, basically, he's going to sort of tilt the wheel down a bit as he looks towards the passenger seat to give it more of a full animated look. And then, the back arm needs to rotate up. That's the front arm rotates down slightly. And then just a slight little bit of animation on the collar there. There you go. A little bit of cleanup. And, okay, that's what that scene looks like. Okay, and then this is scene 4. We're cutting back to her in the passenger seat. It's a bit of a closer shot. This is the storyboard frame. So let's take this as our starting point and kind of hammer her into position. And now, basically, she's just got a different expression. She's kind of got like a pissed off look now. So I've kind of cleared out the surprise expression, gone to more of a neutral expression. Now I'm just going to work the details and, give her that kind of scornful kind of expression. Tilt her head down a little bit. It kind of helps with that expression. I think that works pretty good. Now I'm just kind of going to pose out her front arm a little bit more. Get that back arm. She's kind of settled into this position when you cut back to her. I kind of want to put a bit of a lens distortion in there just to make it look more like a point of view shot. Just to kind of... Now, this is something... I've flattened this layer, but this is just going to be like a guide for later. So that's kind of what that looks like. Kind of like that. It's more strange and distorted. Okay. So that's scene 4. That's kind of the update. But here's a bit of news. My website's finally done. My friend Christian Beckerman did this for me. His company's called Switch Labs. I'll put a link in the description if anybody needs any website services. So this just went live yesterday. I'm pretty excited about this. I haven't really had a working web page in quite a while, so I'm going to use this as kind of the hub for all like my social media and all my e-commerce and everything else. I've got like portfolio section here. I've got little clips of all my recent animation projects in here. I've also got all my recent tutorials, or my tutorials, which I'm kind of offering all this up for free now that I'm kind of moving on to a new project. So these are all readily available for no cost. And additionally, I've got my books available here. These are my digital download books that are available. My Script to Screen, my Massive Swerve books, books 1 to 3, and my Pear Cider and Cigarettes project right here. All right. See you next episode.